Hang in there, it is!
Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. And boy, do we have an episode that I've been looking forward to for a considerable amount of time today, Smylie. I'm, of course, Charlie Hume. He is Smylie Kaufman. But the stars of today's episode, well, Smylie, you're a star. I'm not going to belittle you here. But we have Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth joining us today to break down the golf trip you were just on in Ireland, which is going to be phenomenal. And what's going to come before that is, in the same fashion that you and I went through my Scotland trip and kind of talked about those courses and the trip itself, we're going to do that to kind of set the table for then Justin and Jordan taking over and talking a little bit about the stories and some good memories, favorite holes, things like that, and the latter half of the episode. And then, of course, we're going to bring it home. We're just going to figure out on the fly what the Olympic one-and-done picks will look like. We'll get there when we get there. But before we dive into your Ireland course recap, we have to once again mention that we are presented today by Wear SPF, a phenomenal sunscreen partner, a phenomenal skincare partner, as we noted it several times before on the show. Here's the thing about this, Smylie, and feel free to chime in here if you'd like to. I don't think anything that we're going to say right now is going to be better than the Wear SPF read that Justin Thomas is going to do on the back end of his interview. So do we need to say anything else here?
Nothing needs to be said.
All I will say is use the code Smylie50, SMYLIE50 for a buy one, get the second one half off, and just stick around at the end of the JT interview because that's going to be the best version of this read anyway. So
well said.
With that said, let's dig right in, Smylie. You know how this goes. I need course names. I need to Google things. I want to follow along. Where are we starting first on this Irish golf trip?
Okay, before we get to the courses, some people to thank because this is just like, so many group texts around the world that have all the dudes in it that have, very high expectations of one day going for, a golf trip over to Scotland, Ireland, wherever it may be. I had no clue how to plan a trip for a lot of people. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to two PGA Tour players, a commentator, and then guys that live in the States that have kids and responsibilities and jobs and trying to figure out how we can get everybody in one place and make the process easy. And let me tell you, when the conversation started with golf breaks, I'm like, all right, let's just see where this thing goes. And pretty quickly, I realized we actually might make this thing happen. And it surprised me because I had no idea what I was doing, what I was Googling. And I just knew that Royal County Down and Portrush, those were two golf courses I was familiar with. And I was trying to figure out how to, play those courses because those are ones that, are so popular that people want to play. And I'm like, how do people even do this? and once I got on the phone with them and was able to realize is okay, we just want to be in one place. We want to put our luggage in a room and just not have to be in a van traveling around Ireland the entire time. And that's when we settled in on Dublin. And let me tell you, we had some immediate buy-in once Dublin was the home location because if you haven't been to Dublin, what an amazing city, so walkable. And turns out there's some unbelievable golf courses they put us on for the best, and that's where I'll get to here. So first, shout out to Golf Breaks. They do such an amazing job, not just Ireland, Scotland as well. So I think Scotland probably is going to be the next on my list because although I feel like I'm an Ireland native, I do kind of want to do a Scotland trip.
We'll do an exchange program. We can flip it and then compare notes. I love that. And it sounds like Golf Breaks was a good one to get that done. Yeah,
they did a great job and got us set up with a great transportation company, which we had. They upgraded us from a Sprinter van to a legit Greyhound. it was the most insane thing. We're showing up to these golf courses we're the Beatles balls on this tour bus. And out steps our offensive lineman of James Cunningham, Big James. And then, we just had this epic crew, right? And it all started. So we go from the Open Championship. We finish there. We literally get off the golf course. We had Jordan and 6 of his buddies fly over, and then JT and 5 of us fly over. That math doesn't math because we had 13. So there was one extra on each plane.
We are not a math podcast. I don't know how many times we have to say it. All right. We had a lot of people. They got to Ireland. Next part of the story.
It was, so what was cool is that Troon in Dublin, not far, like it was like a 35-minute flight, super easy. Get there, get picked up, go to the hotel, have some pints that night. It was a big hurling competition that evening, or I think maybe, I don't know if it was a championship or something. I've never watched hurling, but it was like Ireland's final for it. So Dublin Sunday night was epic. We went to a great spot.
Was it JT in like a Cork jersey or something like that?
I don't know what the team was. Whatever that team was, they lost. So the other team won. Shame. So I don't know. That's beside me. But anyways, the next morning was actually probably our longest drive, probably like a little over an hour from Dublin to European Club. Okay. So that's your first Google, is the European Club.
European Club. And so it's not Dublin proper. It's outside.
I believe it was north or south. I can't remember where, but
oh, wow.
It was awesome. And I was talking to Shane Lowry about the courses that we were playing. And I told him we were playing European Club the first day. He's like, oh boy, that's going to be fun. And I was like, oh really? He's like, yeah, that golf course is so narrow. You're going to lose so many golf balls. Make sure you stop by the Strixon trailer. And I got to the first tee, and it was a kind of an intimidating first tee shot. Nobody hit balls. So everybody just gets onto the first tee, and it was a really quiet day out there, hardly anybody there. So I'm just with, I decided, or I was voted in to hit the opening ceremonial first tee shot.
Oh Lord.
So of course I got to hit it off the ground, driver off the deck. And
did you do DOD everywhere?
Off the first tee.
I saw you Portmarnock.
So the first tee at European Club, I got, 12 of our buddies. I got the owner, the couple of the other members watching, and it's just me and my own thoughts at that point. And it's been 3 weeks since I've swung a golf club. I'm playing a driver off the deck. What could go wrong? Boy, oh boy, did I hit the most absolute seed driver right up the middle of the fairway. No problems.
You figured out the formula. Like, you fixed the high odds. You have to be a DOD guy. I love this for you.
It absolutely striped it. And the cool thing about European Club, and it shocked me when I found out when we called about, setting up caddies and European Club's like, do y'all want carts? We're like, yeah, yes, we want carts. And so that was like the big surprise, was that we're taking carts at European Club. And right before we go off, the marshal's like, all right, only thing you can't do is drive in the dunes, keep the carts in the fairway. And when you get up to the green, there will be like an arrow in which side of the green to go on. And I'm saying, like, we're driving on the fringes of the green. So this is like golf heaven, but also for us coming off of a night in Dublin and then a week at the Open Championship, being able to drive up the fairway and onto the greens pretty much was awesome. And this is the way the owner wanted it. Like, this is how he sees and likes the golf to be played. He wants it to be, convenient, quick. And the owner was out there watching us play a little bit and telling us about just how that's kind of been how he likes to do things out there. And the 7th hole, Shane Lowry told me that wait till you get to 7. And so I get to 7, and it's like kind of a wide, it feels like a wide fairway, but then it narrows up to like a 15-yard fairway with hazard left and out of bounds right. And so what do you know? I get up there, throw that ball right on the ground, get my driver, and hit this driver off the deck seed. And so I'm driving down the fairway and in my cart, and I'm taking this video, and I'm like, Shane, dude, You said the 7th fairway was so hard to hit, and I zoom in on my golf ball, and it's right in the middle of the fairway, and hit it up on the green and make this 20-footer for birdie. And I was like, 7th hole, European club, Shane, not a problem. Not a problem.
So I'm curious, not to stop you too far into this, but just looking at these pictures, and it looks like it's founded in 1987. And I'm always curious, and maybe we need to get further in where you can compare more courses. But first question is, what do you feel like the difference is between Scottish link style golf and Irish link style golf? And second follow up to that is, I see like some trees out here. Mm-hmm. I played once in Ireland. I played K Club once. That's more of like I think they call it a parkland style course, yes. Right? More trees, things like that. Do you have a good comparison for people out there listening who know what Scottish golf looks like, but may not know as much about Irish golf?
You know, that's a great question, because I feel like the courses in the region that we were in, we played a couple, I think, true link style, like Portmarnock and County Louth. I think we're definitely in that category, where I felt like European Club and the Island Club felt much more about fitting the golf course to the land. And we're talking about some awesome features that just have these dunes with fescue.
Yes,
and that's what really the back nine, when you get out closer to the water, that's when this golf course just like pops. And we had the perfect day where it was, we saw sun, we saw like, it felt honestly like 75 to 78 degrees. So like felt some warmth in your bones, hardly any wind, which was crazy that first day. Like we had, everybody's bringing these 2 irons, all these golf balls. And the first day, it just felt like we were, a summer day in Charlotte, right? It just was, it wasn't difficult at all, but it's a very tricky golf course, and one that, if you play aggressively, you're going to hit the ball in fescue, and the fescue was brutal out there. So you could easily lose golf balls trying to cut corners. I played it kind of conservatively on the front because we had these teams set up in the Golf Genius app to where you can go add your scores. You take everybody had these handicaps and stuff. And so I played kind of conservative on the front, played pretty good, was like even or 1 under. And the second group comes in. I think it was like JT Jordan and there was 3 other guys too. They were the fivesome, and they come in and we're like trying to compare scores, and they're like, "Wait, what do you mean? There's a Golf Genius app. We're keeping score." And so then the rest of the week, there was no scorekeeping. Like, we were cutting everything out the first 9 holes, and guys were like really serious. And then after that, I'm like, all right, whatever. It's a free for all.
If that's not a microcosm of country club tournament golf in 2024, of the one group that just refuses to put the GGID in, I don't know what is. That's so perfect.
But I mean, just to kind of finish up on your question there, because I really feel like Scott. I mean, I'm not going to just put all of Scotland golf in a bubble saying it's flatter, but I would say that Ireland golf, from what I saw, has the region that we're in had a little bit more mounding and hills, kind of frames the hole a little bit more. So I would say that's one thing that comes to mind, is just the natural land features. But this golf course in particular, you said it was 1987. I think you said it was built. So it's more of a modern golf course. I would say that it's the unique features of it is that there's actually 20 holes. So they have 2 extra mini par 3s in there that actually I felt like were 2 of my favorite holes out there. There was like this 110-yard amazing par 3 that sits in all this dunes and mounds and fescue that just felt like if you got it online, there was a chance you'd make a hole in one. You could see like the backboard of bringing it back to the hole. So that was one of my favorite holes. And then I think it was 12A. They call it was like 7A and 12A, I think it was, or like what the holes.
So they're tucked in the course there. They're not like bet settler holes that are after the end of the. That's so interesting. It's
right after it, and it's like it's just like a practice hole in the middle of an 18-hole round, or you just. I think actually it's a par 80, and if you play all 20, and I think this course record 67. So when AV, our buddy AV, so he's a bit of a jokester, and so he's sending like, dude, the course record's only 67, and it's a par 80. So everybody's like not taking him seriously, because he's probably the best at being sarcastic of any person I've ever met. So we got out there like, oh, he was right. It was actually 67 is the low. But even the 12A was just as good of a hole. Unbelievable like backdrop with this huge mound, similar to like the 7A, in which the mound and the fescue just framed this awesome hole. But there was, I believe the 13th hole was arguably my favorite hole that we played the entire week. And it was just this awesome par 5 that was up against the water. Really this whole stretch, 12, 13, 14, 15, some of the best, just, I would say scenic. So if you're going to talk about just what's like the one that you see on the Google images, you're like, wow, like I want to go play here. Like if you want a scenic place that has awesome views, and if you get good weather, like we had the perfect day. It's like going to Pebble Beach on a perfect day. It felt that way about European Club, and I fell in love with the place. I think it would get really, really tricky and hard, and maybe I wouldn't like it as much if it was blowing 40 miles an hour and raining and crosswinds on this golf course. I think it was perfect on a day in which it's like sunny. It was easy to like find your golf ball. I think that made our experience at the European Club that much more enjoyable.
It's interesting because, I mean, the only thing I'm going to be able to do here is just compare it to what I just played in Scotland, because that's the reference point I have. But it's interesting in looking at the images how much it reminds me of Turnberry and like the having more of that kind of side elevation, and the kind of the winding kind nature of some of these holes, right? With all the long grasses on the side. And you know, obviously modern comparisons, you know, kind of reminds me a little bit of Dumbarton in a sense, but I mean, closer to Turnberry, but it's the difference between playing Turnberry with insane wind and just getting my lunch eaten, and then playing Kingsbarns in like amazing conditions and going out and shooting the round of my life. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'd love playing that course all the time in that weather. And so the weather gets bad where you're really like, oh, okay, this is the true test out here. So that's cool, man. This place looks awesome. And I think too, like it is cool to see more modern link style courses in the UK that have like this sort of natural native feel, where, you know, some people want to knock that for not having history. But for me, it's like, as long as you do it properly, and to your point, use the land as it sits there and try to, instead of manufacturing it, that just sings for me when I'm on a golf course. So this place looks awesome. And
yeah, the last part about European Club I'll mention is the 17th hole. It's the highest point on the property. At least it looked or felt that way. And it's like the spot where the owner was chilling, watching us hit tee balls, and actually like using the land like you're talking about. Actually, JT teed up on this downhill lie and hit this low stinging driver into a bowl-like fairway like you're talking about, with a hillside left and right. And it was like it was the coolest shot ever. And I took a video of it, so I'll have to send that over to you. But that's the prettiest picture. Like, what was the best picture you took all week? 17th hole European Club. Okay. It's I mean, just the
primo.
Like, I think it's the perfect place to start the golf trip, because you just start off with like, yes, this is everything I pictured Ireland golf to be. And it had everything. Losing golf balls. You had, like, honestly, not having a ton of people out there was a huge plus. Golf carts, and, you know, just awesome course conditions and just mounds and the landscape that you just pictured that Ireland would be all about. And also, one thing that we did see out there is, I don't know if it's a nude beach nearby, but this like 6-year-old dude was just kind of cruising about 70 yards away. And I look over and I pull my rangefinder. It's like, is this dude naked? And I'm like, oh yeah, yep, he's definitely naked. And he's just walking down the beach. I'm like, okay. And Steven Spieth, I was playing with him, and I look over at him. I was like, you need to check this out. He's like, how am I supposed to chip with this guy over here?
That's incredible. It's a different breed over there. The conditions that they accept for sunbathing in the nude in the UK are a little bit different from the ones we have here in the States. So I love it. It was a great start. It was a great start. Great start, European Club. Where are we going next?
That was the 18-hole day. So we play golf over 3 days, and the Tuesday we played 36 holes, and we played and started at the Island Golf Club.
The Island, also Dublin, okay, or like Greater Dublin, I guess.
And later that day, we play Portmarnock. But let's start with the Island Golf Club.
Oh wow, this place looks unique.
It's very similar to how the mounds really shape this golf course, especially on the front nine. You really kind of weave your way through all the dunes on the front, and man, the fescue at this place was brutal. Like if you got one offline, you weren't finding your golf ball. And that
I'm looking at some of these aerials and I'm just sweating, just looking at how tight some of these landing areas are.
It was so sweet. The first tee shot, it was just a hole that bottlenecks up in between the dunes. And so I went driver off the deck again in front of a lot of people. And actually I got nervous on this one because the fescue right in front of the tee box was high. And so I tried to get underneath it a little bit, and I chunk hooked it about 160 yards off the tee. So I actually I got off to a really bad start at this course. I was 3 over through 2. Because then I don't think I chipped a whole lot the day before. My first chip shot on 2, like right green side. I just, when you get over the ball and in the morning round, you haven't chipped and you haven't chipped in a while. You're like, how do I do this? Like, how do people get the ball up in the air? I felt that way chipping early in the round. So obviously bogey, actually birdie the next hole. And then best shot I hit all week was green side in a pot bunker. I hit this nice 8-iron right at it, comes up short in the middle of a pot bunker, plugs. And it's the type of pot bunker that, you like getting out of it would have been lucky to do. Yeah. And I hit this unbelievable plug bunker shot to 8 feet.
Wow.
Like short-sighted. So like if you never hit, like if you don't know how to plug bunker shots, the way to do it is, best advice I ever got was from Jerry Kelly. And he told me to feel like I'm swinging in an elevator. So you try to get looser hands and then feel like you literally are coming in at an angle like this. So
just
like less of that,
like straight up and down. Yeah.
Literally like you're whipping the club face right on top of it. And that you just got to aim left and it's going to come out right. And it came out, and I saw the Strixon buzz the top of the grass and then it rolled out to 8 feet to make the putt.
That's phenomenal. I think that the thing on the chipping too is so funny over there, to go back to that briefly, where when you're around the green, the first couple rounds you're pulling like a sand wedge or a lob wedge, and your caddy's looking at you like just in disgust.
Oh, he wanted me to putt it. He wanted me to putt it.
And I went away from the first couple rounds. I hit a lot of bad greenside shots because I was like, I'm just going to embrace this. Like, we're just going to try it. We're over here to try the thing. We're going to hit, we're going to be however many yards out, 100, 120 yards out. We're going to hit little 8-iron runners. We're going to hit like long pitching wedges. Like, I've never practiced these shots. But we're just going to try them because we're here. And then towards the end of the week, I actually hit a couple of good ones because it's just not something we do. But it's so funny. When you just mentioned the chipping piece, it just brought me back to like the first couple times. They're like, you're going to do what with that wedge?
Yeah, no, I a couple, it was kind of the theme of the week with the caddies was that they definitely wanted me to putt it more. And they preferred me to play the angles a little bit more and play a little conservative off the tee. Don't hit as many drivers. And I quickly was like, guys, I need the biggest face in my bag, and that's what I'm going to hit. I'm hitting driver as much as I can. But the caddies at the Island Club were easily my favorite.
Oh, wow. Love this.
And honestly, just if I was to join a club, I would probably say the Island Golf Club would be the one I would join. Reason why, I felt like the vibes of the place and the people there match as much of what I'm accustomed to here in the States. The people were fantastic. The membership, it seemed like they had some really solid players. Gavin Monahan played at Alabama, was a Walker Cupper. They had another Walker Cupper also out there. So there's some really high level play at this club. I liked the area it was in. It was right next door to Portmarnock. Unfortunately, I had to drive 30 minutes up and around to get to Portmarnock, which makes no sense.
Because because it's situated on this like little peninsula or island type thing. Yeah.
Yep. The Island Golf Club, shady. It's
right there in the name.
Right there in the name. But that would be actually the club that I feel like the vibes checked off of. Like,
I love that.
We got on property and immediately felt comfortable with, like, we're not stepping on anybody's, like, we're not just stepping on eggshells out here. It felt easily comfortable for all the guys. Everybody had such a good time, mainly because the caddies were great. They're bringing us out some beer and golf carts, so that obviously was a plus. But
what was the beer? Were we just Guinness all week long, or
it was the Peronis.
Interesting.
And Guinness. Peronis
yeah,
Guinness.
Yeah.
Peronis
That's a good combo.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyways, the rest of the golf course, there was a really picturesque hole. I believe it was number 12, par 3, sweet hole up against the water, and also had a great day Tuesday morning as far as weather's concerned. So it was fairly sunny for the most part, warm, and it was the next hole. It was the 13th hole, was the most narrow fairway I've ever seen in my life, and actually decided to hit a seed off the deck, right down the middle of the fairway. Actually settled. It was in the fairway and then it rolled off because it's literally 7 yards wide, but I counted because it did land in the fairway at one point, so that counts.
Fairway visit.
I visited the fairway. Yeah. But rest of the golf course, I mean, I would say that there's probably, I would probably rate Portmarnock and County Loud above it, just from quality overall standpoint. Just what I love about, I think I love links golf, and I think Island Club is a place that I could play every single day and enjoy the round and never have a complaint about the golf course. But if you're looking at just like why one is ranked more than the other, I could see the difference of why one is ranked higher than the other, if that makes sense.
This is so interesting because I'm just, as I'm going along, I'm just looking at articles and things like that. And there is a little blurb here on top100golfcourses.com where it says, few people know about the Island Golf Club, despite the fact that the course is over 100 years old. One leading UK golf magazine once commented, the best course in Ireland you've never heard of, play it and tell no one. it's like, it's funny because that's a cool cosign. Like in some ways it was funny reading comments on the reel we posted about North Berwick, and people were like, stop talking about this place. Like it's, we don't want people knowing about it, and that's a pretty cool vibe. Like for it to be,
100%.
Have that history and that, but I understand what you're saying. It's just that it's a certain type of golf course and there are ones that give you more of the Irish links experience that you're hoping to go and seek out if you're doing a trip, rather than an everyday thing.
Portmarnock was the most like a golf course in Scotland to me. Like it represented just like links golf, open championship. You could totally see an open being at a golf course like Portmarnock, where Island Golf Club is totally just this awesome golf experience that I would argue be like, all right, I don't know what would fit here. An Irish Open would be perfect. It's something like that along the lines of not major championship golf, like a Portmarnock potentially I feel like could host.
It makes a ton of sense. So, and that's where we're going.
Yes.
You play Isle in the morning and now we're going to Royal Portmarnock.
So this was kind of another theme of the trip that it shows you exactly what type of dudes we're dealing with, which is a bunch of fun guys, but also we're not exactly an organized we're not exactly an organized bunch, if you will.
Yep.
And we struggled with the ATM machine for like having euros to pay the caddies after every round. And so every day somebody's like, oh, I don't have money. And so every day we have to stop and find an ATM in the middle of our drive. And then everybody hops out. And then we have somebody lead us like sheep to the ATM. And then everybody tries to figure it out, gets their money, and then gets back on the bus. And we did this in between the round at heading to Portmarnock. So we're running late. We got a couple guys that need to take potty breaks. We got a couple guys that need to refuel before the round. And so it's just a bit of a show, if you will, before we get to Portmarnock. And we roll up to like this amazing clubhouse. There's at this point, like people know we're like coming in to their golf courses. So there's starting to like be a bit of traffic as we're pulling in, not traffic right outside the course, but traffic meaning, there's 20, 30 people like waiting waiting for us to pull in. And of course we pull in this massive Greyhound, and so we all get out and we're rushing to try to get to the tee because we're a couple minutes late. And that's when, all 13 of us rush to the tee. And it's honestly, this tee shot was unbelievable right off the get-go, like flat at Portmarnock. There's water right, fescue and crap left. So it's a very difficult tee shot. Now, like the crowd's like there, right?
Right.
And of course, throw a ball right onto the ground.
This is the one I saw.
Right after
so
Jordan
good.
and JT hit and hit a seed, hit a 9-iron to a foot, tap in for bird. I was like, all right, Portmarnock, let's go.
That's amazing. I mean, it does all the pictures and all the things I'm seeing, these little blurbs. I'm again playing the comparison game, but to me, it's a little bit like Western Galesy of like where it's situated next to the beach and kind of having that sort of dividing line.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. I'm similar to Turnberry as well in that respect, but just the reason why I say Western Gales, a place that I adored, was just that it just looks so natural to me. Like it looks like that was the land. Mm-hmm. They routed some holes years and years and years ago. And that's basically been it. I mean, of course, there's been some, maybe here and there you modernize with a tee box or, something that's meant to, so you don't have erosion or whatever. But I love that so much. This place it's actually funny. It's like on this website I'm looking on, you can bookmark places you want to play. And apparently I've already logged in and done this before of like, this is a place I want to go because it looks so cool to me. So this is awesome.
Yeah, it's just a proper links course. And a word that I've taken back with me from being in Scotland and Ireland, I call everything proper now. It's just a proper links course.
Yeah.
But really, it was one of the more enjoyable links golf courses I think I've ever played. It just was satisfying right from the get-go because I love golf courses that open you up with a tee shot like that at one where it's just like, all right, here you go. You either got it or you don't. And the second hole felt the exact same way. Just tee shots that really made you think about like what type of shot you wanted to play, because bunkers really out there were trying to catch golf balls. And it reminded me in Troon of that because Troon was just a chip out type of place when you hit it in the bunkers. And Portmarnock has bunkers just at every corner that you're just trying to avoid. But really just such a sweet place, man. And my favorite hole of the entire trip was on this course. And I wish I could remember what hole in the back nine at Portmarnock it was. It was a par 3. And I'm trying to find a scorecard online to try to figure out, because I think it was like 14. It sounds about right.
Okay.
Maybe 13. Maybe it's 13. That actually sounds more right. But just this, oh God, it was the best green complex ever. It was a false front that was probably 8 to 10 yards up to the front of the green with a pot bunker that there was a huge slope above it that funneled everything to the front, to that false front, and 2 bunkers that sat on the left side, and the wind was straight into our faces. It was like this 170-yard hole that we're trying to hit these chippy cut 5-irons in there. And I just thought, this is the best hole I've played here. And I feel like a golf hole that belongs in a major championship. Like this is a major championship type of test of a hole, because you have this back right pin, fescue long. Because if you miss short right, it's gonna be brutal up and down. So that there was plenty of holes like that where I'm like, man, yep, I could see why Portmarnock might be getting open. Yeah,
I mean, it hosts the Irish Open, so it's the Walker Cup. Like this feels like a big league sort of venue. So that's now my interest is officially peaked. Like I'd seen the images online, but hearing you describe it, I mean, this is and I mean, it looks like it's got some history too that's tied into like let's see, Scotsman Mungo Park, who won the 1874 Open Championship at Musselburgh, where you played with Hickories last year. Is the guy who directed the initial course design. So that's, man, places like this with history just gets me fired up. So, all right, Portmarnock, love it.
Portmarnock, man. It doesn't look like it's a 13th hole. I'm trying to figure out what dang hole it was, man. I don't even know what hole it was. I feel, it's the 12th hole. That's the 12th hole.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
God, it's beautiful.
They've hosted the British Masters there too. Yeah, I've had a lot of cool stuff here. Women's Am, Irish Am.
Yeah, the 2 par 3s on the back 9 there were just insane. It was the 12th hole, and it looks like to me maybe not. It's not the 16th. It's the 15th. It's the 15th hole. Wow, 12 and 15. The set of par 3s on the back 9 of Portmarnock are as good as it gets.
Wow,
as good as it gets. Go to the Portmarnock Golf Club website and click course. Okay. Like you can go click the menu bar.
I think I'm looking at one of them on this other website that just looks gorgeous.
So if you go to the website and you click menu, and then you go click course, and you click the blue 9.
Okay. And
then click on 12 and you click on 15.
My internet is incredibly slow. So
wow.
I don't know.
How are we not here?
We're let's see, course, blue course, and we're which hole now?
12.
12. Right, let me take a peek at this one. Oh wow!
So this is that par 3 I was describing with the false front short, that bunker that sits and raised up. Everything kind of funnels off. Those 2 left bunkers kind of are where it's a good miss there, but that back right pin, we didn't get to see that one, but a pin back there would just be diabolical, and that wind was just coming in off the I believe it was the Irish Sea. That feels right.
Yeah. It's good enough for me. I'll say that.
And try 15 next.
All right, let me get a little look at 15. Oh, I love the way these tee boxes are cut on 15.
Yeah,
like it's so perfectly manicured, but it's immediately framed by all this wispy tall grass.
So good, man.
It's just such a great combination of orderly and natural.
It's like a 220-yard hole, but it was playing downwind. We hit 8 irons. Yeah. We're trying to hit it about 175-yard shot that got all the way back there. So this golf course played probably the most firm, I would say. Like it was a huge difference going from European club, Island club. Like every course got progressively more firm. So Portmarnock and County Louth both were firm.
So so now we're 3 courses in.
Yep.
And then we're going to. This is the last day of the trip, right?
Yes.
This is the final 36. And
final 18.
Just 18. And County Louth is the last one?
Yes.
Am I saying that right? Okay.
Load, I think, is how they pronounce it. County Load.
Okay.
But County Louth, they kind of go by whatever you call it. But this, we lost, let's see. So we had 7 out there that day. We had 13 on the trip. So we lost 6 guys, Jordan being one of them. So he didn't get to play this golf course. And 5 of his Dallas boys also headed out. We tried to recruit one guy to stay and we couldn't do it, but to fill out 8. So this golf course,
was it a late eject, or was it like this was the plan? Okay, yeah.
This was always the plan. This was always the plan.
Okay.
We loved. So we're on the way and it's raining. So like, all right, we actually might get the Irish experience today. Like it's raining and we might be playing in some weather, but it actually stopped when we got out there. So it was an overcast day for the most part with probably a 1 to 2 club win. So we actually got to deal with hitting some shots a little bit out there. I would say that this golf course immediately felt like right away, because this was what every person that we talked to in the Dublin area or just Ireland in general, that this golf course was the gem, like the sneaky underrated golf course that nobody talks about.
This one looks the most unique of everything I've seen thus far.
I would probably, if I had to rank of the 4 golf courses we played, and I don't even know if rank is the right way to go about it, because I loved all of them. Like if you say the most scenic and the most scenic golf course, European club, the Island club, most enjoyable, Portmarnock, best test, County Louth, easily to me the gem of the bunch, just the one that had the best variety of links and the combination of just
it's like
stuff I like to see.
It almost looks like in some spots like it's like a links like half parkland hybrid in certain corners of it. Like I could be wrong.
I don't remember Parkland hardly at all out there, because it was more.
Trees.
It was mainly links.
Yeah.
It was mainly links. It was gorse bushes and fescue, and Yeah,
Maybe it's
definitely.
just the corners of the property where some of the structures are around,
Yep,
trees
that's
behind
what you're
it.
seeing. That's
and
what
it's just
you're
a
seeing.
different visual
Yeah.
that I think that it gives it a sort of uniqueness to the rest of what, I've looked at.
It was a golf course that it really tested you. You had to hit some, you had to drive it well at the tee. Definitely similar to Portmarnock, where if you were, finding these bunkers, I felt like there was a couple tee shots out there where fairways were sloped away, where the insides of the holes would have the pot bunkers. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we actually played with the wind. That's the wind that the golf course is supposed to play in, and that was designed in. So you have like a right to left wind, the fairway sloping that way, bunkers on the right side. So it makes you hit like a hold shot to stay on the right side of the fairway, to have the best angle and view of the green. If you hit on the left side, you can't see the green. So I was like, this is awesome. Like, that is what I love about links golf, is like angles, being able to challenge pot bunkers, and you're rewarded by hitting really nice, aggressive tee shots off the tee, challenging pot bunkers. And this golf course to me did the best job of opening up really good angles. And if you took on a challenge, like there was a hole on the backside where the best part of this golf course was actually, I think 12 through 15 was the prettiest part of this golf course. It goes out into the fescue and into the mounds, similar to like a European club, an island club. So this course was the best mix of it all. You had a good view on, I believe it was the 15 or 16th hole, where you could see I think it was the Irish Sea. I'm just going to say it was the Irish Sea.
Might as well.
You get the scenery. You got these awesome dunes and mounds on the back nine, like in this stretch from 12 to 15. So you have that. And then you have the combination that Portmarnock offers, which is the proper links with the firmness, the pot bunkers. And that's why I would probably say that it was my favorite, because it mixed all three of the courses that we played the prior 3 days into like this perfect gem.
I love it. I mean, it is, as you're describing it, looking at pictures that match up with that, and the way you got to kind of think your way around how you want to play this golf course if you want to score is a super cool thing, while remaining, pretty natural, untouched, links land is cool stuff, man.
Epic trip, man. I'm glad you got to hear about these 4 courses. It's 6 less than you played in Scotland, so I'm sorry to
No. It is 8 less. and somehow we're like a golf course review pod now, because I think we did like an hour and 45 minutes on Scotland, and now we've done a solid 40 on 4 courses in Ireland.
Did I tell you that we love golf?
If you made it this far into your journey with the Smylie Show and you haven't realized yet, we love golf. We're golf sickos, and we're so glad you joined us, because I kind of like this, honestly. Yeah, I think golf course reviews should be kind of our bread and butter. I mean,
it was great, man. It was a hell of a trip. The transportation, golf breaks, getting this thing dialed in to where, everything went so smoothly. And then the one thing that we did do that I will say that is very smart looking back was we used ship sticks to get our clubs from the States to when we got picked up by our boy Gavin, who was our driver, who was the dude, like he was awesome. All of our clubs were already loaded into the bottom of the bus. So like when we got picked up from the Open, all of our clubs were in the bus because we ship sticked our clubs to the transportation company. It was seamless. That's why I think everybody was very surprised of how smooth it went, because typically we're much more of a feel it out type of group, and we'll kind of figure it out as we go. And I just was very pleased that everything went smoothly, because when you have 12 other dudes kind of relying on like getting the trip set up, I was very thankful that we didn't have any hiccups and everything went smoothly. So shout out to Ship 6 Golf Breaks, and then Ireland Tours and Board were great, getting us set up in an awesome hotel at Trinity City downtown. So it was a really fun trip.
Well, there you have it, Smylie. I mean, 2 top tier golf trips, bucket list, once in a lifetime trips that we've been lucky enough to enjoy in the past month on this show. So hope you all enjoyed those recaps of the golf courses themselves. Now we get to the fun part of this episode, okay? Because we're hearing first from Justin Thomas, his perspective of this trip, and then we're going to get to Jordan Spieth after Justin. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time, viewer or listener. We're going to kick it right now to Justin Thomas with Smylie recapping the Ireland golf trip.
We're back with a special guest, Justin Thomas. Thank you for joining. Just had a fantastic 4 days with you over in Ireland. We made it. It was a great trip. And we're going to recap a little bit of the trip. But before we get there, I think, as you know, we just recently partnered with Wear SPF, and you helped launch the company, the sunscreen brand, and you have such a great story. So I'd love for you to kind of tell us a little bit more about your experiences with melanoma, skin cancer, just your whole upbringing in skincare, and just how it led you to Wear SPF.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild experience. Fortunately, my parents have always pushed me going to the dermatologist and getting checked, which, you know, when you're in high school and college, like that's the last thing you want to do. You're like, I'm fine, whatever. And, you always think everything's fine. And I've probably had 5, 6, 7 moles taken off. I had one of them that was
really?
cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. Just random. I mean, it's little things, like have one taken off like here and like one on my foot, I had one that was cancerous on my back. I think it was middle school, but it wasn't anything major. But yeah, it was 2019. I went and I just had a tiny mole on the back of on my left calf that I thought kind of looked weird, and had the dermatologist check it out, and he agreed and cut it off. And I think it was like a day or so later, getting a text message from your doctor at 9:30 at night saying, please call me, is generally not a good thing.
No.
So he explained to me, and he's like, you got melanoma, and this is what we have to do. And, I was 26, and I didn't know anything about it. I knew that melanoma was cancerous, but I didn't know how the severity of it.
Right.
But he basically told me I had to go back in, had to get it, removed. When it's melanoma, they have to cut down to the fat to do it. I mean, they call it a surgery. It's not like it took, 10 minutes or whatever. They just numb it, but it's a nice little chunk, and I got a huge scar on my leg. But my doctor said I was probably 3 or 4 months away from being a patient in the hospital. So when you're 26 years old and you hear that, it's eye-opening, and we were very fortunate to make a great opportunity and try to kind of drive a message home because of it, and Wear SPF, and kind of getting people of all ages, especially athletes, spending time out in the sun a lot, like we do, to make sure it's not you're not too cool to wear sunscreen kind of thing. And I was firsthand experience of being pretty scared as someone in their mid to late 20s about getting skin cancer. So we've been able to do a lot of good with it and kind of spread the love.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And how did you get set up with Wear SPF? Was it just hey, I want to get involved, and next thing you know, you're the face of the whole thing?
It was, yeah. I mean, you know how it goes sometimes. It's like we're very fortunate to meet a lot of people through golf, and whether it be pro-ams or friends of friends, however it may be. And I mean, I put something out after the fact of getting the melanoma removed, just for the sake of kind of like, hey, reminding everybody to go get checked and make sure you're looking after yourself, spending time in the sun type thing. And then I think when some dermatologists had seen that, and some other people that were involved in different brands saw that, and then someone had reached out to my agent, who's a friend of ours, and then that just kind of got the ball rolling of like, how can we turn this into something that is a message and really is able to kind of speak to people through, and it's a very obvious a story. It's not just like a brand that just happened. It's like, look, we want to do this to make sure that everybody is going to get checked and wear SPF. And so the same kind of thing doesn't happen to them.
And I can tell you this, when you and I were, let's say 10, 11, 12 years old, Greenville, Mississippi, 110 degrees out for junior golf. We finish the day, we go to the pool. I don't know if we were putting on sunscreen. So I'm just going to go ahead and say at an early age, we probably could have gotten off to better starts. It's never too early to start wearing sunscreen. I know plenty of college athletes, a very large percentage of them don't wear sunscreen. There's hydration benefits as well. Mm-hmm. And there's no easy way to to make the segue from sunscreen to Ireland, because most of the time in Ireland, we're talking about rain, we're talking about wind, mm-hmm. but Justin, we showed up to about as good of weather in Ireland to where actually you needed some sunscreen. It's a shame that the guys didn't have to play in harder weather.
It is. And I honestly, it's like, I mean, it was wild. Like I was not expecting it, and I'm with you. Like I didn't want, it was like somewhere between what we had and like Saturday afternoon at the Open. Like I didn't want that. That wouldn't have been fun.
That was too much. Like
just like it would have been nice, watching the guys looking at us like, can I get the 7-iron there from like 115? You're like, go for it, bud. You give it a try. So yeah, that would have been nice if we could have had some of that.
Oh gosh. I mean, we've been talking about doing whether it's a golf trip. I mean, it's kind of a bit, this doing a golf trip in Ireland for, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 years. I just started randomly just always poking it in. It's like, oh no, wait, this is our next trip. And then all of a sudden, I don't know who it was, who I was talking to. We're like, wait, let's try to do this after the Open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I think we honestly have so many of those going. So many of these, like kind of like not like fake trips, really. Well, we're going to do this, and everybody obviously is at a very different point in our lives than we were 10 years ago, where life doesn't allow us to take mm-hmm. 6 or 7 trips a year. But and then all of a sudden, yeah, it just kind of did. It came to fruition. It was like, wait, this is real. Yeah, we can do this. And next thing you know, we had a squad.
I was shocked, like even me, of how smoothly everything went. Just shocked. Everything was from start to finish. We didn't have any hiccups, which for us, that was a huge win.
It was. And this is like a backhanded compliment. Especially with you setting it all up. Like we were, not that we were expecting it to fail, but it wouldn't have surprised us if like one day we got to the course and we're like, yeah, we don't have you guys anywhere. And we're like, well, yeah, we're like, Smiley's like, sorry, I called the wrong place or something. But
yep,
man, you, that was impressive. You crushed it. And we definitely had you to thank, but I'm sure all of our reactions were the same when we saw this Greyhound bus that was driving the 12 of us or 13 of us around everywhere.
It was unbelievable. I mean, just the time on the bus, the golf courses. And I just want to get your overall highlights. I mean, we played 4 great golf courses, the European Club. We played the Island Club, Portmarnock, which is apparently getting an Open Championship. So we kind of got to look at it. And then County Load is how the caddies pronounce it to me, but I was pronouncing it Louth. So yeah, there's an Irish version and an American version how you say it. But I just want to hear your highlights of golf courses and just anything that comes to mind from the trip.
Yeah, they were all different or amazing for different reasons. I mean, I think, the views at a place like European Club and the Island Club were just unbelievable. I think how they kind of incorporated the water into some of the holes and a little bit of elevation change. And I forgot, honestly, how different links golf is in Ireland versus Scotland, how while the course is still pretty flat, there's just, you kind of play between the dunes. And I think we were all telling the guys, like the fescue of the courses we played was 100% thicker than the Open. I mean, the fescue at the European Club was a joke. Like I lost an infinite amount of golf balls. Like we were playing the tees up with all the guys. And I'm sorry, I didn't go on a trip to Ireland to hit 4-iron off tees. So Jordan and I are like trying to thread the needle here on like a couple yard wide fairway. And, I hit a couple of the stuff and they were
fair enough.
They were hard to find, but yeah, it was just fun being able to play that much links golf, not in competition to where I felt like I could kind of have some fun and hit some hit some different clubs and some different shots. And I was probably really annoying to caddy for, because, I was hitting like 8 irons from 90 yards and stuff, like running it up the whole way. But I'm like, we can't do this in the States. So I'm trying to take advantage of it.
Well, you always said you've loved playing links golf, and it's so fun to play all these different shots. You have so many different options. And it felt like every single day that you were there, you lean more and more into exactly what you're talking about. By County Louth, you were just hitting just the most absurd shots.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. Like it was, I mean, obviously it was, I would never do a golf trip after a Scottish or a tournament and a major, except for over there. Like there's a lot of places in the States I love, and I would be honored to go play, but after like a major, that's a lot. And so the interest level in golf in general wasn't maybe as high as it would be if I went next week or right now, but it was still because of playing those courses that, we're never going to play unless we're there. It kept the interest level up. But yeah, it definitely was something where I just, between looking for golf balls for the guys from time to time, maybe a couple of myself, it was just like, I just don't really feel like hitting a 9 iron from 150 yards. Like, just give me a 6 iron. Like, let's just see what I can do. I don't know.
It was because it was like, I remember at County Louth, I think it was like the 6th hole. It's like this par 3, and you come up to watch us on the tee, and it's like an 8 or 7 iron, I think is what I was pulling. You're like, yeah, I hit 5 iron. I was like, where? And you're like trying to run it up through the bunkers and just playing all these absurd shots. So to your point, these caddies are probably like, we have Justin Thomas here, and he just won't stop playing these ridiculous shots, because I'm sure they all want you to shoot
14
nothing,
pars,
right?
3 bogeys, and a birdie. Yeah, pretty much.
But hey, shout out to the caddies though, right? Like, caddies over there are just, I think we don't underappreciate how much caddies can make a golf trip really sing. And we had, I think my favorite day with caddies was at the Island Club. I think the Island Club caddies made our experience just go from already like a sick golf course with the dunes that you described. We're playing all these fun shots, but they had just as much fun as we did, which I think made that rounds very enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. They can totally change the vibe and just the energy of the group. I mean, after, a bit of a late night on Monday night and then going into a 7 a.m. wake up call, which upset of the year, all of us being on that bus ride, by the way. I would have put the house on somebody missing that bus ride. But we all get there, and we're not exactly moving quickly, and the caddies really brought us back to life. And I mean, we got to a point on the back 9 where I think one of our buddies' caddies, he took the bib off, and he was just like, you take it. He's like, I can't even help. Like, you let's switch. Like, I'll play, you caddy, kind of thing. And it's the accent that they give it with makes it even funnier and more entertaining.
Oh, man, it's just so many great memories from this trip. I mean, so many things we can't even talk about, all of these funny bits that we had during the trip. But there's a couple things I want to talk about. Three of my favorite highlights. The eagle putt at 16. Most nervous you've been. This is at Portmarnock, right after I hooped a 40-footer when we were playing a Wolf Hammer game.
Wow. Yeah. That was.
People don't forget. I don't forget.
Yeah. Oh, I think we should go back to the second shot, because
oh God, that's right. I forgot about this.
Yeah, like I was kind of waiting for you to hit, and then I looked behind, humble brag, hit it quite a bit past Smylie, but I turned back and Smiley's over his shot and then completely stops. He has like an iron in his hand, and he's like, my back had just went out. He's like, my back. He's like, give me the 3-wood, and his caddy's like, what the hell's going on? So he like takes the 3-wood and he's trying to. And then he's kind of like trying to move and stretch out a little bit. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, what is going on? And then you kind of get over it again. And you're like, all right, no, I'm good. Yeah, give me the iron. And I'm like, what is going on? And then you get the iron back. You hit it to like 40 or 50 feet. I hit one in there, like 12. And then you hammer. And then you hoop it, just natural form. And people forget that we almost had to take you off the course in a stretcher 15 minutes prior. And then yeah. And then fortunately we accepted the hammer and I made the putt, but it made for a good story nonetheless.
The best was like Jordan trying to do math right next to me, trying to figure out, okay, the hole started at X, it doubled here, it doubled there. Now you made it, so it tripled. So this putt was worth X. And then we did that for your entire routine, and we never settled in on how much that putt was going to be worth if you missed it. Luckily for your sake, you made it. And then, of course, actually for the first time, Jordan was not good with the scorecard. Normally he was chirping too much.
I've never heard him. I mean, it's probably my fault. I've kind of made his head big in that department. I've talked about it a couple of times of how good he is at keeping score, through however many units are on the line, however many people, however many cocktails, like it's a perfect scorecard. And someone questioned him on one hole. He's like, well, one thing I never get wrong is the scorecard. And then we're on like 13 and he's added up and he's like, this is wrong. And then again, he's like, this isn't right. Off. And I don't know if you remember, we were walking up, I think like 18, and we turn around and Jordan is sitting like Indian style in the fairway with the scorecard like this, like trying to figure it all out.
I don't think he ever did, because he never told me. I was like, just tell me how much I owe. I don't care.
The whole trip was just a big wash. It was worth it.
And we early celebrated his birthday at dinner that night, and I think this is the most upset with you've been with me for a very long time, because I tapped the waiter. It's like, hey, we got a birthday this week. Can we bring a cake out and celebrate? And they're like, what's his name? I was like, Jordan. And you're like, no, it's Justin. And you were so upset that I was so adamant that we must sing to Jordan and not Justin.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I thought you'd be all over that. And I think I even said it first. Like you said, like, what's the name? Because I knew I hadn't said this to you, but after I was like, I'm going to get in there first.
I think that sounds right. Yeah, you did say it first.
If I say it first, Smylie would be like, oh, yeah, no, it's Justin. And I'm like, it's Justin. And he's like, no, it's not. It's Jordan. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like,
I don't know what got into me. It was out of character, and I apologize, because typically I'm all in for very goofy bits that we think are funny that nobody else thinks is funny. That's normally right in character with me, and for whatever reason, I was not having any of that funny business.
Maybe you read the room and understood that the entire staff was probably fed up with
that's probably 13 a good point.
Of us that rolled in there in our golf clothes after 36 holes, and we just needed to see ourselves out.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to be. You wanted to continue to be some silly gooses, and that just was not going to continue to happen. All right, I got two more for you on the way out. Favorite hole on the entire trip?
Favorite hole?
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow, you're putting me on the spot right here. This is a tough one. That one hole at the Island Club was pretty cool. It was like supposed to be like the most narrow fairway. The one that you striped, and I think you told all of Ireland about. You hit it in the.
Yes, I think it's the. Oh gosh, I want to say it's
12, 13?
13, 13 I think. 13th hole at 13 hole at the Island Club. I think the fairway's 8 yards wide, give or take.
Yeah. It was tight.
And lucky hit the fairway.
The European Club had some really, really cool holes, like very non-linksy, but like super scenic. Like I feel like I could kind of pick one from each that just were awesome. But the one of the super, super narrow fairway, I think, like we said, 12 or 13, something like that, was at Island Club, was sweet.
Did you hit the fairway?
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Well, how about that? Reverse cash lucky hitting the fairway. I know that.
Yeah, he was due. It's what he said on the tee, at least.
All right, we're having Jordan on tomorrow, Justin. So you get to give me a question to ask Jordan on the pod when I record with him. You got anything that comes to mind?
I think you should ask him if he... if he felt like he got a perfect line from the caddies each time on the course. I think that would be a pretty fair question to ask. I think.
Do I need to loop in Greller in this?
No. Don't bring Greller. He doesn't need to end up in the wrong when he wasn't even there. Just curious. I don't know.
Oh my God. There's no better feeling, walking down the fairway, watching Jordan looking like he's talking to Michael Greller, who just happens to be a local caddy. Just like, are you sure that was the line to the wind switch? I mean, just classic Jordan stuff. And
like, is that not good over there? Be like, why would you think that's good over there? We've never played here before. I don't know.
I'll ask him it tomorrow. And luckily for you, on the way out, Justin, you get to do your first podcast read.
Yeah.
And first off, are you nervous? And number two, do you have all of the materials in front of you?
I do. Yes. So, this is, for Wear SPF, we know that I think we could sense how tough this was for you to do and execute. And I honestly was getting a little uncomfortable for you, listening to you try to figure out how you were going to tie this in. So, you know what? I took it on the chin, and I'm going to do it. So here's my first.
Thank you. I want to hear an Emmy performance. So let's lean in here.
All right, I'm reading it. I didn't memorize it first time I've seen it.
Thank you. Please.
Hi, I'm Justin Thomas, and you're listening to the Smylie Show, presented by Wear SPF. I'm doing this read because Smylie is really bad at these. So I'm here to tell you that you can go right now to wearspf.com and buy one product with half off the second by using code SMILEY50. That's SMYLIE50. Block the sun, not your drives like the High Yacht King, Smylie Kaufman. Use Wear SPF like I do and enjoy the rest of the Smylie Show.
I mean, round of applause. Look at you. The end, I think that was added recently. I didn't see that.
I was
out the sun, the High Yacht King. God, that's beautiful.
I was wondering why I got two versions here, and
that's poetic.
Luckily I read the second.
That might as well be a haiku. That is beautiful.
Listening to you try to understand what Smylie 50, and then you're like, so it's you product and you get one, and I'm like, it's half 50, half off. This
is the same guy that just went to the dealership realizing that his car was in 4-wheel drive and not 2-wheel drive. So I have strengths. I have weaknesses. Luckily, you can carry me in this situation. Good job, Charlie, on giving that read over to JT. He crushed it. Justin, thank you for hopping on. What a trip in Ireland. Awesome messages with Wear SPF, and we look forward to watching you crush it in the playoffs. And I'm looking forward to watching you not play links golf on modern golf courses.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to run it through that Bermuda rough in Memphis quite as easy. So I'm going to probably just see pin, hit pin.
Love it. All right, buddy. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
There you have it. JT on Ireland and Smylie. As promised, we no longer have to do Wear SPF reads. Or when we do, it's just going to be as simple as listen to Justin Thomas, because that was knocked out of the park.
It was great, man.
Did you like that little block
the
pun
sun
there?
Yeah, that was good, man.
Little High Yacht King there. Yeah. Listen, I was a journalism major. No big deal, man.
That was great.
A little bit.
It was good.
That was a ton of fun to listen to and get that recap. And the fun continues, because now we're headed over to Jordan Spieth. What are we dialing in for Jordan here?
You know what? I'm excited to ask him a couple questions. He's a golf savant himself, so I know he'll have some opinions on the course, and he loves talking golf as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Definitely got to throw that question that JT wanted me to ask him, so I'll throw that in there as well. But Jordan, always so great to talk to, so this will be fun.
Well, you really hate to hear it. I mean, on this show, we've documented what a good scorecard keeper he is, and now
Gotta ask him about it.
We got to press him on that. We got to figure that out. So let's get to it. Jordan Spieth and Smylie on the Ireland golf trip.
Like we promised our guests that we have here as we speak, Jordan Spieth. Man, we just had quite the little run the last week or so, going to the Open Championship, going on a little trip to Ireland. We just had JT on to recap it. And guess what? It's your turn. What was the highlights for you? The news and notes from that whole week.
I'm assuming you just mean the Ireland trip.
Yeah. Let's go Ireland. Why don't we just do Ireland?
Well, I think as as like for what we do, we don't really ever get to go on a golf trip with our buddies, right? Like, you know, that's what now our buddies want to do is go on golf trips and travel around and do that. So to be able to go over to Ireland and do that, it was pretty epic. I mean, to be honest, I was like plenty fine with not playing golf for like 3 or 4 days after playing like 90 holes 2 weeks in a row in Scotland. But then we got out there and, you know, it was like it was like Christmas morning at the European Club until you saw the fescue on the first hole. And then you thought, man, this is thicker than it was at Troon. So we actually have to focus today in order to not lose golf balls. But it was amazing. I mean, I think I hadn't played the island. I hadn't played European or Island Club. European Club was probably like one of the most beautiful golf courses I've ever been on. And then the Island Club was one of the coolest ones. It reminded me of a couple of the courses I've played on the West Coast, where it's kind of a tale of two nines. And that was cool. So you almost got 2 courses in one. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of searching for golf balls. So I spent probably half the time searching for golf balls. But the other half was really fun.
Yeah, we had a great time. And when we showed up to the European Club, the boys were ready to get some fresh air after an hour-long bus ride. And we get to the first tee, and you know, you, myself, and JT, you know, we'd been talking for so long about just wanting to get some crazy weather. And you know, I guarantee you, if you would have showed up that day and there was, you know, it's 55 degrees, it's blowing 30, and it's raining, like you talked about how much golf you'd play, you'd probably been like, you know what, I'll sit this one out, sit in the clubhouse and wait till you guys get in. But it was like 75 degrees, no wind, and sunny and no clouds. So we got pretty damn lucky with the weather too. Well,
I think also, you know, as you started to mention that, I thought you were going to go into the first tee shot hit from the group, which was your tee shot on one. And, you know, I tried to introduce you like they introduced us at the Open Championship, and, you know, the owner of the club is out there, and, you know, there's a small crowd on the tee, and there's a lot of pressure on that shot, and you just put driver off the deck and you shipped one right down the right side of the fairway. And, you know, I mean, I think without that shot, I don't think we would have had a good time. I think really
that's a good point.
Because you hit that shot, you know, it really got everyone, okay, we can do this. And,
yes.
And then everyone hit their first shots, and then they said, never mind, we can't do this.
It's the anti-high and Charlie and I were talking about it early in the episode, but you know how upset I get with you when you have a driver off the deck yardage and I'm following your group. Yeah. And I let everybody know, like, guys, driver off the deck's got to be coming. And then when you don't do it, I'm so upset. You know how much it means to me for you to rip that driver head cover off and hit that thing off the deck. So just know how important it is for a guy watching.
Well, you know what I figured out? I've actually hit probably more driver off the decks this year than the rest of the years combined, just randomly. The fun one is when you hit it off the tee and then you just never put it back in the bag. You just carry driver without the head cover down the fairway, and you know that you're going to hit it again. Like I played the first 2 rounds of the Open, and our whole group on Friday when it started to blow just hit driver on both the par 5s on the front 9. So we all just walked off the tee with drivers, and there's just no other club you could use on the next shot because it's blowing straight in off the right. You need it low and cutting, and you're off like a upslope. It's like, I mean, you hit any other club, it's just never going to come out of the sky. So it was amazing. I've never it's very rare to have 2 guys in a group hit driver off the deck, let alone 3 do it like consecutive holes. It was like number 4 and 6. It's like, what'd you hit on the front 9? What'd you hit on the front 9? Well, I hit 4 iron off the tees, except for the par 5s. We just started hitting driver everywhere. It was wild.
Yeah, that front 9 was interesting, though, especially the way that wind direction was. But I was actually, because I was in that first group, you know, we had 13 guys playing, so we have 4 go out. So we got 9 back there on the tee at European Club in day 1. And I was told a story, and I would like for you to tell it because I just want the image and the pictures from your perspective of James talking about how his knee was hurting and that AV put him through, I guess, something to help fix his knee. What happened?
That's right. Yeah. James, well, luckily we were in carts because I think, you know, James's knee was really busted up, but AV luckily had a great fix. You know, he's a jack of all trades. I mean, the guy can do everything. And, so I think we had a trainer in the group in Joe Russo, but I think the trust level that James has with AV, I think that really stepped in there. And not to mention, I think Joe was in your group already, so he was gone. And so AV put him through he kind of told him to go on his back, took him through a couple legitimate things, and then told him to roll over on his stomach and then bend his knees and then just start kicking his feet back and forth. And given, we're in front of, these are these people's first impression of us, and he's now on his stomach kicking his feet back and forth, doing like from Zoolander. And he's not a small person, right? And so it was and then he finally realized that he was getting messed with, and all of a sudden, and then he had to go tee off. He was in the second group heading off, and boy, that was a good.
Luckily,
bit.
his knee got fixed. It's been a shame for him to hit a first tee shot, and his knee not be loosened up. So thank goodness AV took him through it.
Absolutely.
Oh man, so many stories from the week that just come to mind. But from JT and I talking, we got to play together at Portmarnock with your brother Steven and your buddy Austin, who's I considered my friend as well. But we've bragged on you quite, pretty well about how good you are at keeping a scorecard. But I would say this was a D- effort from you for our Wolf Hammer game out there. You were all over the place. What happened?
Yeah, I lost. It was really I would say, it's a random skill of mine. It's really more of a character flaw. I just can't have anyone else keep it, or if they do, I have to keep it too. And I take a lot of pride in my ability to, whether it's an AC-doocy game on the bus ride or keeping everybody's kind of blackjack numbers to, keeping Wolf numbers on a scorecard. And I just completely lost it after after number 11. We made the turn, and I looked back from number 13, and I'm like, I'm missing $140 somewhere. I don't know where I'm missing it. And I'm looking back, and I'm like, no, it doesn't match up on 11, and I got to track it back to number 7. And so now I'm walking down a hole, and I just didn't even play a hole because I'm trying to figure out these numbers. And we never got there. We never figured it out. And
which is
that was pretty consistent with the other 2 days as well.
And I asked Justin about the 16th hole, and he kind of described the story of my back going out and then ended up hitting a 5-iron onto the green. And you and I were on the same Wolf Hammer team for that hole. I hooped that 40-footer for eagle. And then you and I are just giggling, trying to do the math of what Justin was putting for. And you and I, we still had no idea what the value was on the putt. But are you able to figure it out now? Do you have a general idea what the putt was worth?
I think one of us had it at 8120 and the other had it at 800, 1200. So we were close. It was somewhere in between
just
the two.
Just missing zero.
Because, they hammered when he almost made it for a 2, and, it was blind shot, and we get up there and he looks close. They hammered us already. And then you went and drained that snake. It would have gone in, a thimble. It was right in the middle, perfect speed, may have gone 18 inches past from about 45 feet. And those are the ones where you're walking it in and you're just screaming hammer back, because it's the 16th hole. So it's our 69th hole of the day. Shout out. And so that's not true. It's the 70th hole of the day. And so yeah, we were struggling there, and in us trying to figure it out, Justin went and made it right in the dead center on top of you from about 15 feet. And that was nice because it at least took the pressure off of trying to figure out exactly what it was for.
Yeah, because then you would have actually had to figure out all the math of the scorecard.
Yeah, because it would have been significant enough. Yeah, it would have been significant enough that someone was going to have to pay somebody. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Luckily,
except my brother just kept saying every time he went down, he'd just be like, "Nope, I'm not paying." It's kind of a good thing. I'm just going to start using that.
Yep, he's the king of it, man. He makes me laugh more than any human in this world. Your brother Steven. And I guess Portmarnock, let's just talk a little bit about this golf course. You've played it before, but there's rumors that they may get an Open Championship. Just what was your impressions of that golf course as we have already kind of discussed the European and Island Club?
Yeah, I think European and Island Club were incredibly unique, and Portmarnock is more like proper standard links. You don't have anything that's kind of odd or wild that sticks out in a way. It was the closest to Dublin. So I think that would be incredible for if the infrastructure's there, which I guess they're figuring out that it can be. What a scene that could be, because I think about that Adair Manor Pro-Am and who showed up, like the crowds that showed up there, and
oh, really?
And I mean, it was unbelievable. And I think the Portrush Open was amazing, but then you throw one like right there where you're within a half hour of Dublin. What a scene that'll be. And then, not to mention, you could have carnage off that first tee.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the first hole, you put it on the ground and you hit a little buttercut driver off the deck, and then you hit a 9-iron to about
9-iron.
a foot and a half. And you walk up and you pick it up, and that's the Smylie Kaufman route. It will be
and then
one
you hit a 2-iron on the next hole, about 60 yards left.
Well, we're still on number one. After number one, you kind of ease into the course a little bit, but it's all about the conditions. So it's a cool golf course. That wind picked up for us on that back nine. It showed its teeth a little bit, and the bunkers are just kind of like at Troon. It's like they're so annoyingly placed right where you're going to drive the ball. So, mix and match of being able to make eagle, but bogey on the same hole, which when you guys made eagle, I think I'm still playing that hole right now. I don't think I've finished it.
Was that the hole where it bounced through the gorse, or like we acted like it bounced through the gorse? Or was that another par 5?
I also shanked like 3 bunker shots in a row on the same hole. So I'm still I would have struggled to get in on single digits. But you guys made it look pretty easy.
Because I think this is the same hole, and I asked JT. I said, "Hey, give me one question." I asked Jordan, and besides us discussing the happy birthday celebration, by the way, happy late birthday, and not singing it to Justin, and instead I was adamant about singing it to you. Besides that, he wanted me to ask you, did you get any poor lines during the trip from any caddies? Like, did you feel like you needed to talk to any of your caddies, like maybe Mikey walking down the fairway? I'm
really not sure. Did any come to your mind? I'm pretty sure any shot that went offline, if you asked me, I'd have been like, yeah, that's going offline.
You need to ask old Mikey Grower, because JT took a hilarious video of it looked exactly like you normally look walking down the fairway with Mikey, where you're talking about whether it's a line or like, can't believe it went this far, just talking about the shot you hit prior, and you're talking with one of the caddies that we had with you, and Justin's taking a video of you just talking about how it looks like you're just bending his ear about the line that you chose, and he sent the video to Grower, so you need to check that one out.
I would say I went into it very much like, I'm just going to try to have fun, so these guys have fun. So it may have looks may have been deceiving there, but there's also a chance I've been like, I thought I could carry this bunker.
You're
Turns
right.
out
It was
I
a
can't.
looks. It was a looks is deceiving thing, and especially as we got later in the day, you just started hitting these chippy drivers that were like 60%, but actually was kind of sick. Like this is a shot that I think is like a third or fourth gear that you can kind of seed out there on some holes at golf courses that have fast and firm fairways and just chase it down.
Yeah, I'm thinking, they come out at about 1,000 spin at about 140 ball speed, and they just kind of, they're not going to get hit by any wind, and if they start straight, they're going to be fine. They came about because I just completely ran out of gas. It's like, you know what, we're done here.
That's fair.
We're done here. This was great. This was great, guys. Let's go to dinner.
All right, got a couple more for you. All right, give me an MVP for the trip. I didn't ask JT this, but you got to give me your MVP.
Oh man, it could be your brother.
It's a stacked MVP list, and I feel like he was the favorite at in my opinion, probably the leader in the vote. So
yeah,
not surprising you said Luck.
I think Lucky may have been MVP. You know, it's not only kind of the performance that he put on, the extra gear he had, the hours he put in, but also it's really the attention to detail, the team camaraderie. I mean, he was lining up guys' putts for them for a 7 or 8 when he still had one for like a 6 or a 7 next to it. I mean, he really wanted guys to get in the house. He didn't care how long it took. You know, he was embracing the time. He knew he was going to put in long hours. So it didn't, if he was at the golf course or he was somewhere else, it didn't matter to him. I think if you had to say, like, you know, who got the most out of this trip, it would be hard to say anyone else. So I think he was the favorite going in. And everybody likes a good upset, but man, it was kind of like Scheffler at the Masters this year. You know, it's like, well, you kind of know what's going to happen.
Well, that's pretty well put. And I still feel like AV is still on the back nine at the European Club playing with Lucky, Joe, and Blake. They're just, no, maybe it was Miller, actually. It was Miller. And all 4 of them just, I think they're still on that back nine.
We had dinner, pints, hung out, talked like for a good, 45 minutes. And then we heard that they were on the 18th tee, and then we went out to watch them finish. So.
And I asked the question, I was like, man, what is taking them so long? I wonder what it was. And then I think it was Joe or Miller almost hit one another. And they're like, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah, AV could have been MVP too. My brother left it all on the field too. He didn't have much returning. He may not be allowed on an American Airlines flight for the foreseeable future. He definitely left it all on the field too. So, God. I don't count the trip home as part of the trip, so, it's hard to pick. I mean, I actually, when I've described this trip, Smylie, and this is to give you credit, to walk around with 13 Americans in the state that we are in around a city like Dublin, where everywhere we walked, we were probably looked at like, oh no. And logistically, how organized and how perfect everything went was such an upset. And
huge upset.
That has a lot to do with you. Gavin was an MVP. We certainly had some locals that were on our side, kind of kept us out of the way of being a problem to other people enjoying their life, while we still got to do what we wanted to do. So, I mean, logistically, it was a 10 out of 10, and I'm shocked because we were prepared for anything.
Yeah, at the beginning of this episode, we thanked all those people, and Alan, the other guy you mentioned, put us on some great restaurants. And wow, that Italian restaurant was probably my MVP of the food for that week. We just wined and dined like we never have before.
Well, and Smylie, I don't know if you know this part of the story, but that second night we ate at that Thai restaurant. And we all got in there first. Everyone showed up kind of at different times. It was raining, so everyone had walked there in the rain. We all looked like a mess. We were battered, right? That was like after the European Club. And we walk in there, and at our side of the table, one of my buddies here in Dallas asked if they have sake, which they had like a whole sake list. But clearly they know why he's asking if they have sake. And he goes, let me check what we have. And he came back like a couple of minutes later and he goes, I'm sorry, we're all out of sake. And I mean, I lost it. This guy knew exactly what was going on. There's no chance they were out of sake. And he's like, we are not having this. This is a nice place. And I know that you're at the middle table of this restaurant. It's already like 10 p.m. Absolutely not. And I thought that was a great play by the staff at that restaurant. And nobody really caught it. I mean, it was great.
Oh God, man. Well, this was a great recap. Thank you for coming on and joining. And where are we going to see you next?
I think I'll be playing the next couple weeks.
Sweet.
I'm planning on playing Wyndham and then St. Jude and try to get on a nice little run.
The 1,000 mile an hour the spin. What is it? The RPMs? Is that
the little bunt.
That works at Wyndham. That would have worked on that 11th tee, 18th. Just kind of
does not work at St. Jude. It does not roll on the Zoysia.
It does not roll on the Zoysia.
I don't think it'll fly 10 yards in that humidity. So,
all right. So, quick question: takeaways from 2024. I know Riss has been touch and go, but is there anything that you just sitting here today that's just a takeaway from the year?
Yeah, I think It's been an odd one. I started out pretty good, and then I just kind of ran into a lot of trying to test the hand out on a lot of things throughout the swing, try to test it more and more. And it's been kind of bugging me. So I think I'm going to have to do something about it this off season and hopefully just come back better. So it's been a bit frustrating in that way. I've never really had like an injury that's prevented me from doing anything. And so I can see why that's so frustrating to people now. But, I hope I got another good 10 to 15 years left at a really high level. And so I need to make sure I'm in the right place going forward to be at my best. So, I think, it's one of those where I go to a couple golf courses coming up that I've played well in the past, and you start getting on a little run, better late than never, and I can certainly turn it into something great. And if not, then I'll have a little more recovery time to try and get it taken care of.
Yep, all makes sense. And I've been so impressed with how well you've driven the ball this year. I think you supplant your driving ability in any other year. You're having just an all-time type of year. But like the hand stuff you mentioned, I think whenever you get it sorted or whenever it gets figured out, you're swinging it great. And look forward to watch you make a bunch of birdies and hopefully watch you hit some driver off the decks in the middle of the fairway, because that gets me excited watching you play some golf.
I'm not sure. I think the first time I'm going to see you in a fairway coming up, I just won't stop laughing. I mean, I'm going to need a buffer round. You're going to need to come out during a pro-am so we can get this over with.
just giggle our way for the first couple of minutes, and then it's back to business.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for joining, man. This was a lot of fun, and go get them at Wyndham and St. Jude.
Thanks, buddy. See you guys.
All right.
Well, the Ireland golf trip, Smylie, is officially recapped. I don't think we can recap it any further. It's about as good as it gets. We got some breakdowns of courses from you, and we got all the good stuff, all the good stories from JT and Jordan. So hope everyone enjoyed that listen or watch. It was a blast being a fly on the wall to take all that in, and maybe you get to planning your Ireland golf trip at some point soon with golf breaks. So
yeah,
there you have it. We now have, I guess, an approximation of our one and done picks for the Olympics. I got to very briefly give a shout out to my guy, Pace Johnson, because I got sent this in my family group text, and I did like a quadruple take because Pace played 283 holes in one day to raise money for College Golf Fellowship at a course, Sunnyside, where I grew up in Fresno, California. And he apparently did it wearing pants and a long sleeve shirt. I mean, I assume that was for sun protection, but Michael Kim was live tweeting this. And Pace is generally one of the best human beings I know, doing this for an amazing cause in College Golf Fellowship. It's something he believes in a ton, has a really strong faith. And I think that Pace is also a phenomenal player, played on some of those Cal temes with Max Homa and others. And so,
man, you better have some strong faith if you're playing 263 holes, because I'd be on the ground, man.
Yes. I still don't know how he did it. Apparently he was 100 holes in by 1 p.m. after teeing off at 6. This does not pencil to me in any way, shape, or form. And growing up and playing golf in that like 107-degree heat in the summer, that dry heat, like I was dead after about 12 holes. So Pace, good on you. Good cause. Thanks for doing it. And everyone go support College Golf Fellowship if you can. The work that Pace is doing there. But that was wild to me. 283 holes in a day. That's like 3 or 4 golf trips. That's probably more than I played in Scotland. Anyway,
my neck and shoulders still like 4 or 5 days after playing feels like I've been holding up the Roman Colosseum with my arms and hands for like 72 straight hours. That's how I feel. And maybe that might piss you off a little bit, because I just went on this amazing golf trip, and that I'm complaining about a little shoulder neck tightness. It's pretty tight.
It's tight, and it's only getting tighter. So that's the rub of being old, getting older, and playing golf these days. But that's the 283 is a number that I could not reach. So good on him and good on us for whatever we're doing at this stage in time. Let's do some Olympics picks. How about
let's do some Olympics picks.
Let's get right into some Olympics
picks. Tough week last week at the 3M. I feel like we were just both. I mean, you're in the car. I'm in morning in Dublin. There was a bad wave. I feel like we've decided to, just like anything that breaks down, the red ring of death on Xbox, you just hope that you can find a way to get that green to come back on that Xbox. So Control-Alt-Delete, we're back. We've been back in the lab. We've been crunching numbers. We feel pretty good about our Olympics picks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our trend has been, when we peak, and then when we crash, we crash. We're high variance pickers, as we are. Listen, I'm a high variance golfer. Why not be a high variance picker? So maybe, just maybe, I was rock bottom before I took Colin the Memorial, and look how it went after that. So this could be what we needed, a little wake up call. Making picks from the inside of my 2014 Prius in a CVS parking lot and a 95-degree day. That was the wake up call of like, Charlie, you need to get your life back together and make some good picks. So I'll turn it over to you first, Smylie. Le Golf National, the side of the 2018 Ryder Cup. Who are the three guys you like this week? But we're not even really making a one and done pick. We're going to open all the players back up to us here. But who are the three guys you like this week and the guy you think is going to take home gold?
Well, four guys, and the only reason I'm adding a fourth guy is because this is the story if it happens to like play itself out, which would be Matthew Pavone, being the Frenchman. I think that would be the big storyline. Is can Matthew Pavone be able to get in contention for a medal? I think that'd be an awesome story. I don't know about his course history because I honestly just saw his name. I'm like, oh man, that's the. Like, I'm not necessarily suggesting it. I'm suggesting it because it would make for great TV. So,
well, now I want a bonus Frenchman too. I get Victor Perez.
Okay, you get Victor
Pavone,
Perez.
I get Perez. All right, we both get a bonus Frenchman. Fair enough. All
right, but the guys that just are sticking out to me like a sore thumb that aren't going to be my gold medal picks, but guys who very well could win the gold medal, or even this week you don't have to win. You can actually win second or third and get a medal. So,
how about that?
Give me. Let's see, Alex Noren.
Okay.
And the reason why I like Alex, he's won on this golf course, Le Golf National, the site of the 2018 Ryder Cup. Also won in 2018 at this golf course. So he's won here. He's a golfer that is very good at avoiding bogeys. And on this golf course, it's very European in the style. It's not a bomb and gouge type of course. Alex Noren has been playing nicely lately. He's had 2 top 15s heading into this week. He's an unbelievable chipper of the golf ball. So when he gets out of position, he's very good at getting up and down. I was actually funny that I think about this now, but I was at the Memorial this year at the chipping green, and Alex Noren and Xander and I are just sitting there, and Xander just is following Alex Noren around the chipping green, like in the rough area, just watching him pitch. So you got Xander Schauffele, one of the best players in the world, just trying to figure out like what Alex Noren does so well pitching out of the rough. So if that tells you anything about what type of pitcher Alex is, he's unbelievable. He's we always see that move he tries to work on, but he's really good at keeping the ball in front of him. He actually can work it both ways. He's a much more of a fader, but he can draw if he needs to. So I just think he fits kind of all the boxes for a guy that should be in medal contention. We'll see how he plays. The last time I picked Alex, and I felt like it was a perfect week. He missed the cut. So I don't know if there's a cut at the Olympics. I don't think there is.
Okay, sorry. So are you continuing with your three?
Yeah, I'm just going to rip through them.
Love it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I got caught in the snake draft.
No, you're good.
This happens from time to time.
I don't know a ton about this guy's game. This is just a suggestion based off of like a long shot sleeper type of guy. His name is Guido. Can you help me with his last name?
Migliozzi.
He's won at this golf course. So just you're taking a guy as a long shot, maybe throw in. I don't know if this is a lineup type of week. He's right around plus 8,000. So he's kind of in that area of the board of like, hey, if you want to take a bit of a long shot on a guy that's won on the golf course, Guido would be a guy that I would throw at you. Is like, okay, he's actually got some history here. So he's a guy that, for an event like this, I don't think guys really are caring that much. They just want to go play their game, play aggressively, probably playing free, because why not? Like you're probably really comfortable until Sunday where you're like, oh, I actually have a chance to win a medal. So look out for Guido. Last guy that I think is going to have a really, really good week and could be a guy that ends up medaling is Corey Connors. He fits this golf course. When you think about if you've watched the Ryder Cup in 2018, what did Europe do so well that week? They drove the ball in the fairway. And if you're driving the ball in the fairway on this course, if you recall, there's a lot of bulkheads with water that require you to be in the fairway to be able to stop the balls on the green. It was much more firm, according to Scotty Scheffler, listening to one of his interviews today, talk about the golf course. Ted Scott said back in 18 that it was much more firm. It's a little softer, but maybe a little bit of wind and no rain that the course might dry out. So that's something to take in mind, is that maybe you have a bit more of a chance because the rough's not quite as long as it was for the Ryder Cup. But still, if you take all I just said and that it's not a bob and gouge course and that you need to be in the fairways and you need to be on the greens, like who does that better than Corey Connors? He just, to me, if it turns into a test like that, he's going to hit a 5-yard draw down the middle of the fairway. Give me that guy, Corey Connors, to win a medal. Yeah.
I like that selection of picks, and we're still waiting on your ultimate pick here, right? So you use your Frenchman, your bonus Frenchie pick on Pavon, my bonus Frenchman, Victor Perez. So we've got that out of the way. I've got a mix here of guys that I like for different reasons. I'm going to start again with the guy that I liked at the Open Championship and who finished tied for 22nd there, in Sepp Straka. For the reasons you listed on course profile of just long and straight and good iron player. And that is what Sepp does. I think, I think I want to say he was in the bad draw at Troon, and to still scrape a T22 out of that draw was pretty impressive.
He was in the good draw. He was in the good draw.
Okay,
he was actually in the good draw because he didn't play well Friday morning, and I was like, oh man, he had an opportunity.
Oh yes. I'm sorry,
I didn't want to correct you there, but that was one player that I knew was in the good draw that didn't really take advantage of it as much as I thought he should have.
I had so many players favorited on our board of names that I was following around. I was trying to remember that there was one guy where he was not going as deep as I wanted him to on that Friday morning round. But I mean, I still like him here a lot for course fit reasons. And it's a guy that, again, we're big on the data gut model here. I know what the gut tells me. I'm looking at what the data tells me. And in terms of course fit, he's like right beneath Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler in terms of players that model likes the most in terms of course fit. So that's like a big green flag for me there. So I like Sepp. Another guy who's playing well on Live and who, we've talked a little bit around some of these majors earlier this year, Joaquin Niemann. I think that just coming off, I believe he tied for second at the JCB, the Live London event, and a guy that
it's a good pick.
Maybe not like a strict course fit type thing, but I just think that these Live guys obviously have scarce opportunities to play in company with these PGA Tour pros, and so. This is a guy who's going to want to come in who obviously has a ton of passion for country, given the way that, the types of guys he surrounded himself with as a professional. And of course, the way they formed that Torquay team, however you want to say it, on Live. So I like him coming in and wanting to kind of do something for Chile and play with a little bit of pride and show out for Live as well here too. So
just quick note on him.
Sure.
Well, actually 2 questions I have. One that I want to ask you is, I assume, are there world ranking points for the Olympics?
Ooh, that is a great question
because it's actually that's just another way for Joaquin Niemann win. That's just a huge win with all
Yeah.
with Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele in the field,
Ooh.
Rory McIlroy. I'm just curious if it's actually points.
Oh,
are
no.
awarded.
Okay, no, sorry. I was looking at this and I was initially disappointed because I was thinking in FedEx Cup terms. Xander last year got 50 official World Golf Rankings
Olympics
points. Or last year. Last Olympics, yes. He earned 50 points and a major earns 100 points.
Okay, majors. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
So about half a major.
So is it like a normal PGA Tour event?
I don't know what that is relative to the points you win for like a signature event or the Players Championship or something like that. But
can't be that hard to find out. Let's just click Scotty's thing. He's won a lot.
It's nothing like researching.
And while you're looking at that, I'll finish the other thought with Joaquin though. Actually, when you talk about if it's a course fit, I think it is. His whole thing is how well can he putt it. To me, he's an elite ball striker. Probably doesn't hit it quite as high and have as many shots as I think a Scotty Scheffler or a Rory or Xander, but he is able to. He's a very, very good ball striker. Hits the middle of the face a lot, but maybe, because it's not a major. Maybe we see the Joaquin Niemann that we see on the Live, which is the guy that absolutely tears it up. So I like your pick. God,
okay. Scotty won 70 points for the Memorial.
Okay. So it's
63 for the RBC Heritage. So yeah, a little bit less than a signature event on the PGA Tour.
Okay,
80 points for the Players. So yeah, that's roughly.
And maybe it'll be more. We don't know what it's going to be for this one. It could be. Who knows how many points it'll be.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, it's definitely more than zero, which is what
it's more than zero.
It's what you earn on Live for a win. So I've got Sepp, I've got Joaquin Niemann. My long shot of sorts. He's not like a strict long shot in like a Guido Migliozzi category, but Thomas Dietrich is a guy that's further down that board that. It just seems like he crops, in a lot of these high profile events, we saw it at, I believe it was the PGA Championship. I want to say
finished fourth at PGA US Open. He was in the second to last group on Saturday. So he's got the tools.
Pebble Beach Pro-Am played great. It was T4 through the 3 rounds before it got canceled, where there are a lot of events where you wouldn't necessarily expect him to play well with the names in the field, and he finds himself near the top of that leaderboard. And in similar fashion here, it's a guy that is he's European, so there's a comfort level over here as well. So I like Dietrich as like a maybe longer odds play here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. And I think I don't know who wants to go first. Do you want me to go first on my pick?
Yeah, just keep it rolling, dude. Go for it.
Well, it's. I hope that you end up picking either Scotty or Xander because we have all the guys available to us on the board, and I just can't get off of picking Colin Morikawa. I just feel so good about Colin winning this week. He hasn't had that big win yet this year, and he's been just trending. And you can make a case for anybody in the top 5 or 6 of the odds board of why they're going to win. But I just can't get off of Colin on this golf course. To me, it should suit his game just perfectly. Being able to, just kind of hit those little cuts and find fairways. And his ball striking's been, improved so much this year back to what we're accustomed to. If he gets that hot iron game that we know he can get, his putter, his work with Stephen Sweeney's just been, a huge difference for him this week to where he's been able to, keep rounds together, keep those momentum putts going. And don't be surprised to see Colin Morikawa winning a gold medal.
He is at the top of the course fit, that the tool on Data Golf, where they just love him here for very good reason. Listen, I would love to take Scotty or Xander. I mean,
he's not going to do it. Oh
far
my God.
and away.
We didn't even suggest Scotty or Xander. Are you taking John Rahm? Who are you taking?
So here's where I'm at. I'm making a late audible because I had a guy in mind that fit the course profile perfectly, who I've loved all season long.
Oh, the gut's coming out here. Is this the Data gut? This is the gut coming.
The guy I'm going with is, here are his last 4 finishes: T3, T10, T7, win.
Okay, you're taking John Rahm.
I'm taking John Rahm.
Yeah.
It feels like the thing for Rahm all season has been, just not playing as well as he wants to in high profile events or majors, the injury at the US Open. I mean, even this last week in winning this London event for Liv, all the clips I saw on social were just this frustration with everything going on around him. It feels like he's put himself in this sort of high pressure scenario, this sort of crunch time, space he's existing in that he actually thrives in. Like this is the high leverage golf that he loved on the PGA Tour that we were so confused as to why he left, because he was missing out on that when it was all kind of music and fun all the time. And so he's found a way to kind of get back into this headspace. I know he would have liked to, T7 in a major is fantastic, but he obviously would have loved to win a major this season. I feel like he's now kind of hitting a stride and playing the type of golf he wants to play. And if you're going to try to salvage a season and it doesn't, have a major win in it for a guy who holds himself to that standard, an Olympic medal will be a pretty good way to go about doing that, with the only thing remaining being live events and live individual championships. So I'm rolling with Rahm this week.
This is like this is the John Rahm week in the Olympics of, hey, don't forget about me. It's just that taste in your mouth of, because, how did we leave the conversation the last time we talked about John Rahm after the Open Championship was, you know what? He's just going to have to go out and win some live golf events. And we didn't even talk about the Olympics, but go 100%. Win some live golf events. And if he goes out and wins a gold medal in the Olympics, it's like, well, how do you get your name talked about more and the decision that you made? And this is exactly how you do it. You go win. You remind everybody how good you are. And this is I'm not talking you out of taking Rahm this week, because I would love to take Rahm this week, because he's I think was he a 4-0er at the Ryder Cup at this golf course too?
I have.
Why do I feel like he was epic at this one?
I'm killing it with the research right now. I've got.
I know. I didn't know you were taking. I didn't know you were taking John Rahm.
I know. I was late audible. I actually don't know what his record was, the 2018 Ryder Cup. I do know that he was on the team, of course.
I know he was on the team because I think he beat Tiger. I think he was paired up against Tiger and won.
Man, I just share my screen for everyone right now so they can see all the tabs I have up that aren't having anything to do with the stat that we're trying to give you right now, which is just killer.
It's really hard to figure out here.
Are you on the wiki page? Let's see here. Scroll down here. Okay.
He said the Spaniard was part of the winning team on his debut in Paris in 2018, but
only won 1 point.
But experienced disappointment during the United States victory at home soil. So that was not a 4-0er, actually. That was the opposite. So does that make you want to change your pick a little bit?
The other guy I was thinking about was Tommy Fleetwood, who went 4-1-0 here, but I think I'm going to give him a pass on that week.
Okay.
I'm going to give Ron a pass.
Pass given.
He gets the pass. He's going to be motivated. This is John Rahm's final chance to win an event with a field mixed in with PGA Tour pros. I think he gets it done this week.
Okay. Still can change.
I'm not changing. My other pick was Ludwig. Now we're doing the thing. Now we're doing the thing where we're just listing all the names. We're not going to do that thing. We said we weren't going to do that thing, and we are not going to do that thing. So it is John Rahm. It's a firm commitment to John Rahm, and it's a little bit of Joaquin Niemann and a little bit of Seth Straka and a little bit of Thomas.
We're just trying to help you build some lineups out. We're not trying to say, oh yeah, we like this guy and we knew he's going to win.
That's right.
We just want you to try to build your lineups based on a couple of these guys. And if you want to mix and match, this is why we do this. We want to give you options because there's a reason why guys, why you like some guy at a place and why you could see like, no thanks. And I probably am a little bit more on the, I liked your picks. I think your picks good, all 9 of them, good picks.
What we do want you to do is choose a side. Choose a Frenchman. You're either Team Pavone or you're Team Perez, and there's no in between. That's going to be the true test of this Olympic golf competition: is which Frenchman you take between Smylie and I. So there you go. There you go. Hope that was in some way, shape, or form useful. Amongst the bad episode. Wikipediaing. What an episode. It's gonna there's a lot of editing to do, and I feel like this is gonna be a long one, but I'm hoping everyone sticks with it all the way through.
Break it up like every day, like just listen to a chunk. Chunk every day.
Yeah, save a little bit for the Olympics, a little companion listen or watch, however you like to consume. So that's what we got. I mean, do you have final thoughts, Smylie? I feel like the thoughts have been final some time ago, but if there's anything you want to part the listeners and the viewers with before we send them off, the floor is yours.
I think the only thing that we haven't mentioned on the show that we should have probably touched on, definitely should have touched on in our Monday recap, was the passing of Mark Carnevale.
Yes.
We definitely needed to mention just how great of a dude he was. I saw him just about every week on the golf course. It was nothing but nice to me. It just was so well loved by so many people in the golf industry. The golf world's so small. You come to just know and run into so many different people. And I didn't have a necessarily a great relationship with Mark, meaning I haven't spent enough time around him, but for the people that spoke so highly of him, they loved being around him. And he was nothing but kind and nice to me. So I know you were at SiriusXM, and I'm sure you spent some time around Mark as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up because it definitely was a hard week for the PGA Tour radio team and the guys that loved Mark so much over there. Carney, as he was affectionately known as a PGA Tour radio. And in similar fashion to you, I was a studio show producer. He was more on the play-by-play event side of things. But I do know this is that anytime I needed to have someone on who was on the ground on one of our shows who was covering, a final group and wanted insight on players. Carney was always willing to do it, was always incredibly gracious with his time, was a great guest, a great conversation, knew a ton about the game. And yeah, it is a tough loss. And I know that the people over at PGA Tour Radio, all the well wishes they've received this week have meant a lot. And so, rest in peace, Carney.
Yep.
Good dude.
Really
Love the game of
talented
golf.
too, man. Too really felt like he just painted the picture so well. With I love listening to SiriusXM radio, driving down the road, listening to the golf. These guys just make it
It's fantastic.
They're just so effortless in how they're able to describe everything that's going on. And Carney was one of the best at doing that.
It is amazing. I mean, the job that he did, among others, there, where it's just in today's day and age, just the audio medium, they do it phenomenally well. So, rest easy, Carney, and our thoughts and prayers to the whole SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio crew for that loss. But yeah, that's a tough one, but he'll be remembered fondly. So. That's what we got for you. That is a somber note to end on, but a worthwhile one to end on as well. We appreciate you all sticking with us, watching and listening to a fun recap of Ireland, Olympics golf, and everything else in between. So I guess we'll be back here with an Olympics recap very, very soon. So we'll look forward to talking to you then.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the